Hi beautiful mamas, and welcome back to another mother and child card reading where we look for some insights and messages about a current situation or a relationship with one of our children. And I have just connected in and drawn a card for our mother reading and for our child reading. And before I drew the cards, I intuitively selected crystals and asked for just one element of their embodied energy if it's your cup of tea. Otherwise it will just be a very pretty stone to you, but whether it's a crystal or a relic or whatever significance you put into the objects that remind you and keep you on track of an element of your beautiful mind, body, and what you're wanting to bring in or what you're wanting to release. So for the children, Pal, Sodalite came out, and the aspect that came up strongest there with the Sodalite was really, it's about being our big ideas and being grounded on earth and it working together. So that connection and integration of our ideas and maybe the reality that we can, operate within. And for the moms, Carnelian came out, which, and the characteristic of Carnelian, which stuck out for me, was about the endurance to keep on going. Carnelian's also a nice purifying stone, and interestingly it connects quite nicely here because in Reiki it is aligned with our second chakra, the color orange, and our second chakra is also the home of our desires, our relationships, our life force, our appetites, it's our womb, it's our connection even with like Mother Earth, I'll say loosely. Well, the connection in the sense of being creators as mothers. And yeah, so I'm going to put the kids aside for now. And let's go deeper into this message because I can feel it's already kind of taken hold. So yeah, hi moms. Welcome. I always connect with the Divine Mother. That's an energy that resonates with me and has my whole life. And with the angels and masters for a collective reading for mum. So let what resonates with you, for where you are at in your current situation, let that be what you take. Don't worry too much about what you believe or don't believe. Just trust the moment now and trust yourself within this moment to feel what connects in with you. So yeah. So I was saying that our second chakra is our womb, it's our life force, it's our appetites, it's our goals, it's our passions, it's it's our creative space. It's also the space of relationship, not relationships in groups, but one-on-one relationships. So our many intimate relationships. And so I have pre-shuffled the Oracle and Angel cards with the intention, oh la la, that's so nice, that I'll take from the top, at least for the Oracle cards. Okay, so now we get in a little bit more of an expansive message around your desires. And the number 3 for me is always the Holy Trilogy, in whichever belief system you want to come from: body, mind, spirit, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. There are more, I just can't think about them at the moment because I know you even get them in mathematics, But the number 3 always speaks to me of, it feels complete. It feels, I know they say something in numerology about it's a special number, or in maths that it's a very special number because of something. So I'm not really helping you out there. But the feeling that I'm getting from the number 3 is that it's not it's not just black or white or wrong or right. It's got the extra dimension to it that's bringing a feeling more of like completion. And so let's see. Angel Serena, this is the card of abundance. So this is where we tend to think in terms of like maybe financial abundance first, you know, or luxurious abundance like holidays and stuff like that. But this energy of abundance, and especially with regards to our desires and our possibility to fulfill those desires, you know, our passions and even our cravings, you know, this is a card that is saying, let that go. Don't sort of manage that. It's saying that there's a nice opening in your energy now, a possibility in your energy now, for this life force, this vitality, this abundance to flow through you and want to rise. You know, the yogics speak about a kundalini rising, which I know is a lot more than, you know, you can do it on many different levels. But the feeling that I'm getting here is allowing, maybe you're coming out of a time where your responsibilities in terms of being a mom are different, in that you have more time on your own or in the adult world. Maybe your kids have gone to school or something like that. But there's a sense here where there is time for you to think about your desires and to think about them in a non-competing way. So don't take your desires down into dualistic thinking of wrong or right, good or bad, am I allowed to, shouldn't I, how will this fit in my life? You keep it clean, keep it in its purity of, I'm listening, this is my desire, you know what I mean? Like, I actually have a desire for this, I have a desire for that, and allow it to be beyond just, you know, where you want to go and what you want to have. Allow it to be like feelings you want to feel and spaces you'd like to enjoy. And I mean, go into what you would consider the impossible even, just to give yourself the experience of being in a desire and feeling what, not just what your life requires from you in terms of desires. Like I really desire a holiday right now, but allowing it to be more complete. That's where I'm feeling like this 3, this holy trilogy of sort of the meeting of your desires from lots of different levels of you, of what your desire that encompasses something that not only your head and your heart and your body needs, you know, is that the all of you is allowed to want and need it, free of whether it's irresponsible or not, because what you're doing is you are opening and allowing the energy to just flow freely through you. And yeah, reconnecting with your vitality and you know, in the space of the second chakra, or in all of the aspects or elements of our life, balance is something that lets us know where we are at with regards to certain energy in our life or certain spaces in our life. And when we're off balance, our desires become, you know, mentally, we can make them forbidden, or we can ridicule them, or we can say that's so naive, or we can get hard on ourselves if we're out of balance. So maybe spending too much time in whether we even have permission to have this desire instead of feeling the desire. But then also, you know, it might come out in our behavior with our cravings, or our we realizing that instead of fulfilling our desire or having a thought about our desire, we're actually distracting ourselves and maybe over consuming something, so that we don't face the desires that are coming up because it's been painful in the past, you know. And this is where I think the forgiveness comes in so beautifully, where we allow the our desires to be free of what's happened to date. And you know, the space of imagining your best life, because that's what this card is really about. This is saying that, like, you know, life energy and abundant energy, which are pretty much same, is ready to flow through you, and you can open it up and you can forgive perhaps the past disappointments or the past limitations or the past pains around having the desire. And because what this card is saying is just give yourself permission to think about it. Give yourself time to just listen to what the all of you is trying to say, you know, and don't be intense about it. just let it wander, let it be free, because every day we shift and change and we progress, and we don't necessarily update our desires. If there's been disappointment in the past, we may be able to release some of that disappointment by realizing that it's actually okay because we don't desire it anymore. We thought we really wanted it, but what do I desire now, and what feels good for me now, and allowing it to be anything from small to big. And perhaps, I mean, just in the thinking of it, what we're doing is we're opening it up. We're doing our part in opening the energy, and then the energy can flow through, you know. And perhaps just sparing a thought, or, I mean, be playful if you want. And anytime something comes up that says no or resists considering my goals and my what will really fulfill me, anytime a past pain, you know, put light on it and just say, I recognize you, but you're not about here and now. You're talking to me about a different time. So allowing the space to be a nice clear space for you. Let's see if we can get I'm gonna go with our Osho, although I've already shuffled it. I'd love some clarity on our mother reading, especially connecting into the message that has come through so far. Okay, I actually see these two. Interesting. The tarot cards can sometimes feel like the reading is starting to take a different turn, but it is just the pictures, you know. And let's feel into what. Okay, so morality. This is the Queen, I think, yeah, the Queen of Swords. So it's interesting because down here we're speaking about desires and our life force energy and our goals, and, you know, all to answer the question of what will fulfill me now, you know, where I'm at. Not I need it now, but where am I at now in terms of satisfaction? What's changed? Let me just, you know, check in with myself again and update, you know. And so that energy feels a lot more, or a lot less sort of like cerebral about it. And morality over here is, or the Queen of Swords tends to speak about, you know, getting things sorted out in a practical way and being very clear and decisive in the way that you do something. This card, both of these are actually connecting more in like with this forgiveness, with like this past energy. And maybe this is what the message is today, is to be aware of the sort of the veil between you and being able to connect in or give permission for what deeply fulfills you. All right, maybe a sort of cultural programming here with the political idea. So both of these are coming from the house of, or the suit of swords. So it's about our thinking and you know, the way we plan and goal, and you know what we intend for ourselves. And over here it feels very unimaginative and it feels very regulated in a way. I'm not saying that's the inherent meaning of these cards, but it's the feeling that's coming up of be mindful of the social programming or the pace that we carry in our head about what should be expected of us at certain times, you know, in our role as a mother. Whereas this card is speaking to you, fulfillment of you as a person, you know, the whole person, not the role of the mom. So these cards, it feels like it's saying to me, like, the politics is more about what the they would say, and this space of contemplating your desires is free from these. Don't go down into this. But as much as this looks like a harsh, sterile kind of a card, it's not really, because what it's also saying is within this desire, within this dream, and within this beautiful energy coming up, you can also use your discerning mind, and you can have that queen energy, and you can be like, right, actually, you know, this desire is well placed. It might not be celebrated and enjoyed by someone else because their desire is different, but allowing that space to maybe be a little bit firmer once you connect with, you know, a desire, and making space for that desire. And yeah, figuring out how you do that, and not listening to the voice of, you know, what's socially expected from you, even while you are alone in your own home. There is this voice of, you know, is this okay? Can I do this without feeling guilt? You know, am I allowed to give myself this space when there's so much else to do? And so yeah, this feels like connecting deeper into your desires and your fulfillment, and being aware of perhaps the chitter chatter that is from the past, or the chitter chatter that seems to exist in our social world, and making sure that you honor and respect the you first, and don't let this stop you from giving yourself permission to be in this space with yourself. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. Yeah, that actually feels like a nice complete message. And then with our kiddo, interesting, it's in the same energy space, it's in the same chakra, really, our second chakra. So, I mean, a little bit about Reiki for the context is the lower three chakras are how we engage in our world that we can look, see, taste, and touch. You know, our actual physical world. And then the upper chakras are, you know, with our inner and our higher worlds. So it's interesting that these are both, this situation or this relationship, are both seem to be in the similar area of life. This one is very specifically focused on relationships and intimacy, freedom, acceptance, and trust. I'm going to draw sweet. I love this card. See how they're doing. Shall I lift them up rather so we can see them nicer for now? So with our kids, obviously their primary relationship is with, or their first relationship is within the womb, you know, and then their primary caregivers. And whatever your dynamic is, I'm going to speak to the mother-child, and with each sort of step of independence that our kids take, they reassess themselves with their relationship with us and, or, you know, their caregivers around the interdependence and trying to get that balance between, you know, I want to be free, but I also really want to be supported. And when I am connecting, how close am I able to kind of connect with, you know, when I say it like that, I'm saying it as if it's the child's conscious decision and responsibility, but that's not what I'm meaning at all. It's their experience of that back and forth between like dependence, independence. Their personality may be you know, inclined towards many friends, but, you know, or they might be a one friend only or a loner. But their whole relationship between who am I by myself and who am I with someone else, and who am I in my mother's eyes or in my parents' eyes, and how much freedom feels safe. More might come up here, but this for me is feeling more around like a question of independence than around the independency, and because I'm feeling independence, you know, whether they two and they want to be independent enough to, you know, do their own seat buckle, or if they're 16 and they're wanting to start getting in cars with friends who have started driving, or, you know, starting to go to places which are free but not necessarily as safe. And so the amount of trust that they're kind of developing within themselves is ongoing, you know, but particularly when there's been a bit of a leap in the freedom of the relationship, you know. And intimacy is coming up for me too, in terms of their ability to communicate this to you and let you know what it's feeling like inside. And we're not going into judgment now. Our kids connect and communicate with us as they connect and they communicate with us. We'll work with that as what is. But I'm just connecting in with this feeling here of, and perhaps this, yeah, with the sodalite, with the head and the heart. Because now I'm feeling more of like a teenage energy of feeling a little bit insecure, but reluctant to express it. because of feeling unsure about, shouldn't freedom just feel fun and be free, and not really anticipating that sometimes freedom feels a little bit scary, and knowing how to speak about that or communicate that, even if it's a little one. So yeah, because with this, there's also this beautiful energy of like a surge of, being in their creative space. Like whether that be like I'm now going to nursery, kindergarten, whatever you call it, and I'm super chuffed with myself. And wow, what I'm actually experiencing is that there's a lot that appeals to me, or there's a lot of new and interesting things. And there's this card also comes with the caveat of don't allow like peer pressure or what everyone else around you is saying about you stepping into this new freedom. And don't let them stop you. So this actually, the feeling I'm getting is not so much in like my womb area, which we were talking about, the second chakra being that area. This feels more like in the solar plexus of like, who am I now, and can I express it? Can I speak to someone about it? And it's interesting, the meditation card for a kid, which is not as bizarre nowadays as it was. I always think it's amazing that my father actually taught us to meditate in his own way when we were kids, when it just wasn't even on the radar in the early 80s, that kids need to meditate or should meditate. But so also on my channel there is one meditation, just as an example. It's called Kiki the Chameleon, and it's a meditation that's designed for kids, and it kind of takes them through their body and all the colors of the rainbow to soothe them, into sleeping or into relaxing. But also, my kids gravitate towards binaural beats when they're falling asleep, and they will pick it for a specific thing of, my mind feels racy today, or I want some ocean vibes. And so that connection on how to self-soothe, how to sort of integrate the self, to allow what feels like somewhere they're stepping out of their previous dependence into a new level of dependence, into a new level of freedom, and navigating their inner trust and the experience of, I thought this would only be golden, but it is golden and it is a nice idea, but I'm not sure how I feel, or people are saying stuff which is making me feel a little bit confused, maybe because this is new to me. Let's see if we can get some clarity. What can spirits let us know about this collective message for our child? Take it where it resonates. Remember, it's a timeless reading and it's a general reading. So, okay, that feels like one. Can we have another card to clarify this message for? Oh, there we go. Oh, sweet. We actually got this card yesterday as well in the children's pack. It's a very beautiful card. Okay. So with this energy of like flying high and not allowing the voice of the outside, you also got, in our mother pack we also got that be mindful of the they, and the social politics And you know, with kids, I was a school counselor for a few years in an all-girls private school. And the level of politics and, you know, as they navigated and without much grace, their dominance, and in this case it was a girls' school, the queen bee, and, you know, the hurts and the rips in a kid's sense of self around that kind of bullying and that kind of politics and manipulation. So it's interesting that there's the message for both us and our kid in this situation, but in different ways, well, not actually in different ways, because both are saying, don't let this energy of you that, with regards to the kids session, which is pushing them into a newfound freedom and a new level of independence, don't let it be thwarted by the peanut gallery or by the peer pressure and the bullying. And, you know, sometimes it is the hardest thing, often, for our kids, is to be able to talk about it, to organize their thoughts around it, and especially if they're little, I mean, it's completely inappropriate to even expect it. So I think being able to allow them to kind of figure out a space that brings them into balance, that allows all the processing to happen like under words, you know, before the words and before the logic comes in, and just creating this sort of space. And because the feeling I'm getting from this card over here is whether it is within them, but it does feel like it's, you know, like what I'm seeing now, and it might be true for some of the kids that are school going, but it feels like primary school. It doesn't feel like they're in high school yet. It's almost like trying out different activities, like, you know, drama or music or sports and stuff like that. Like there's this feeling of expansion, of wanting to try new things, of maybe pushing one's own limits a little bit, or the curiosity there. And yeah, not to forget that this is about relationships, and our kids from age 4 are actually learning more, not to diss us in any way, they're learning more from their social group than what they're learning from us. Yeah, we are grounding it, and we're doing sort of the work on the deeper level, but they are taking more and learning more in their social relationships. So perhaps feels like there's an element here of noticing if your kid is talking about a relationship at school that might be an adversary, or might be the one stepping up and challenging them as they are exploring their next step or their new space. Yeah, and then if it's possible, if it's within like the family way of doing them, ending the day with a sort of, you know, little bit of soft music, hot bath, even if they are 15 years old, and teaching them that little practice of how we integrate, especially when we are in this beautiful space of exploration and feeling the courage, you know. This energy of innocence, and it's so this when the little diamonds at the bottom are purple, as you can tell. Sorry, I don't mean to be insulting to anyone who is a professional tarot card reader. I use these in a very different way. But the ones with the purple in the diamond, the major arcanas, are about the major life lesson going on. And let's say something else. Innocence, when we speak to childhood innocence, it's not speaking about naivety, and especially when it's, this is at the sense of completion, it's the wisdom in innocence. It is, oh, come on. What it feels like here is that this is the energy that is actually holding the space for your child. Is it while they are moving into something new, or they are exploring something beyond their previous level of relating or independence and freedom and trusting themselves. Yeah. Their innocence is what's propelling it, and it's coming from an intuitive kind of wise sense, and that's why it feels like there's almost like a bit of Dutch courage here, where it's like, yeah, my friends might be saying something about it, but I really want to go and I really want to try it out, and there's nice energy of curiosity. So I'd say the overall message here is that perhaps assisting, or the message that like the balance of the integration of this movement, the curiosity, the having a look around, the courage to try something new, but more than the courage to try something new, it feels almost like the pull or the desire. They're not thinking too much about it. It's kind of happening. And just that in this time, the balance can be held. And sometimes it might be as simple as, after a day, having an intentional calm down, or like to soothe. It might be a chat from the intimacy, like you connecting, where your kid might be inclined to open up, if your kid's that way, and have a little bit of a chat about what they're thinking and where they're wanting to go and what they're curious about and what their friendships are sort of giving back to them. So that's, both of those feel complete. But what I am going to do is I'm going to draw just one more angel message for each of us, and to see, is there anything that the collective child would like the collective mother to know? Are there any messages? Is there any okay, it's an interesting card. Caution. This is a pause. Alright. So I can feel that balance between the energy of wanting, of there's new things for me to try out. There may be even new rules about it now, new spaces, but allowing, it's interesting how in a different way it actually came up yesterday as a helping your kid to sort of regulate or get their tempo in a rhythm that serves them, because this energy over here, particularly this traveling and this like flying high energy, it can rush in, and when we cross our own boundaries too quickly, then our trust feels a bit corrupted inside. And I think that was the belly feeling of like the the bit of balance, whether it's the encouragement or whether it's just soothing the system at the end of the day, or the chat, whatever it might be. There's just a message here to sort of allow for a pause or encourage, be aware that there might be like something beautiful and amazing and new coming up, but there's an element of newness that might need a bit of encouragement and balancing and, you know, just connection or company from you. So let's see. Spirit, do you have an overall message for our mother group just to bring today's reading to a close? This one feels interesting that card also came out yesterday. And this is just a just reassurance of saying that you're not alone, that the role of being a mom is often, or can be, overwhelming or exhausting, or, you know, we can feel our stretch or our limits. And this is just saying, remember that it's a group effort in spirit. You know, there's our children are being loved and protected by more than just us, and sometimes allowing ourselves the space to let go of that beautiful but sometimes all-consuming role of our kids' well-being and our kids' happiness being, you know, what is filling the space in our mind, and that we do have permission to have a little ponder and wonder just in the realms of ourselves around our own satisfaction. And that feels, there's something that almost feels like an go for it, girl, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody allowed to come in here and judge you for what you're thinking and what you're doing. It's got a little bit of a sassy energy. Maybe it's gaining momentum as the reading goes on. But may you gain momentum in your beautiful fulfillment and allow this abundant energy to feed that and feed you, and, you know, be very blessed. So thank you, moms, for joining us for this reading today. May the rest of your day and week and be beautiful, and until the next time, lots and lots of love.